All right, guys, we're gonna get into dry fire exercises. I know inside your mind you're thinking, oh, I just had a long day at work. You know, I don't want to do more work. I just want to fall onto the couch and watch TV. But guess what? You can do this while you're watching TV or you're relaxed. You just got to make sure that, you know, the gun's empty, the magazines are empty. But it is by far one of the best training tools that anyone that has a firearm or carries every day can do. So it improves your holstering abilities, it improves your target acquisition, it improves your reload times, and also it just increases that confidence in your gun. And more confidence you have in your firearm, the safer you are. So we're going to go over this, we're going to go over all the aspects of it, and I'm just going to stop talking now and let's just get to work. Before we get into this, I know exactly what you're thinking. Safety. So always make sure that your weapon is clear before you dry fire. So magazines, chamber, everything. Okay, safety is everything. Now, what was that? Okay, no, don't worry about this. One of the biggest myths is that dry firing is going to damage your firing pin. Now, first off, you don't have to pull the trigger with dry firing. Most of the times when I'm dry firing, I don't pull the trigger. But if you're worried about it, most modern day weapons aren't gonna have the firing pin damaged in any way if you press the trigger and pull, releasing that firing pin. So really the only ones that are gonna be damaged is gonna be like the 1911, the 2011, some rimfire 22s, and then old school weapons. But you know, modern day weapons like the Glock, the HNK, CZ, MMP, you don't have to worry about that damaging at all. So moving on to the next thing, what you can buy for dry firing. So for me personally, I don't like spending money for dry firing. Some people would get, you know, snap caps, which are good because what will happen is you can actually, you know, load up your magazine with the snap caps, load it, and if you're practicing, you know, malfunctions, then it becomes advantageous. But for me, on an everyday level, I'm just constantly working on my grip, my sight picture, and also my reloads and drawing. So not many times am I focusing on pulling the rack back and all that kind of stuff. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on targets. So the easiest targets are gonna be like light switches, doorknobs, bulbs, anything like that. But to get further into it, to increase your target acquisition success, I'd use painter's tape. So what I'll do is I'll cut off about 1/2 inch to 1 inch squares, and that'll be the head. And I'll put it in heights of like an average person, a tall person, a short person. And what that'll do is, with it being such a small square and you're backed up about, you know, 5 to 7 yards, is you're going after, you know, really small squares. And I'm telling you right now that after about doing it for 10 to 15 minutes, you are gonna notice a huge improvement in you being able to line up those sights and get on that right away. Now it's time for the fun stuff. Well, maybe not that fun stuff, because this is very basic, but it's extremely important. People tend to forget that this is really important. So, grip, all right? I'm gonna be really quick on this. Just make sure that you're holding the grip like you would if you were shaking someone's hand. This isn't a competition like you're the strongest person in the room, okay? I know who you are. Just a calm and relaxed grip. Then your supporting hand, you're gonna be gripping this pretty tightly. And it's gonna go in between your finger grooves on this side. All right, so it's gonna look just like this. And then at this point, what you're gonna do, you're gonna practice drawing and getting that perfect grip every single time. And don't beat yourself up. Even for me, every 2 or 3 times, I don't get a perfect grip, okay? So you just gotta keep going until you get it right. Okay, on the second step, it's getting a little bit more fun because we get to play with the trigger. Again, check and make sure everything's clear. All right, once that happens, pulled way too far there, but find it right before the firing pin's released. Okay, and at that point, that's exactly where you want to go every single time that you draw your weapon. And worst case scenario, if you're in a situation where you have to actually use your weapon, you're much quicker on the draw, you're much quicker on the trigger finger. All right, now we're gonna get into the really fun stuff, okay? Target picture, aligning your sights every single time. So what you're gonna wanna do, pretend that you have a brace on your neck. You do not wanna move your neck, your head, or anything like that. That's the biggest tip that I have for you. Just make sure, use your eyes, you know? Once you get to that point where you've found that head position, don't do this. Just do this, like a creep, all right? So what you're gonna do, you're gonna team all those things up that we just discussed previously. So grip, wall, target picture. And it's as simple as that. The next step, once you get that down pat and you're smooth and you're proficient, is gonna be reloads. There's a reason why we have eye-hand coordination. So please, use your eyes. There's too many people when I go to the range that feel like they want to be a movie star and not look, and they end up missing the mag well completely, or they just miss the pool. So use your eyes, put the gun right in your face, and you're set. So just like that. And you're just gonna keep practicing that over and over and over again until you're really smooth and consistent with it. And then you're gonna piece everything together. All right, so working on your grip, your wall, the trigger, your target acquisition, your sight picture, and then your reloads. And for me, I do this every single morning right before I leave for work, or if I'm going out on a date with my wife, right before I go out. And she does it with me too. We're in the bedroom, we holster up and we do our draws and we bring up and start aiming at random things in the house. So with that, teamed with doing this maybe 3 times a week for 15 to 20 minutes, anytime that you draw your weapon, you're able to aim at whatever you want to point at. So it's a cool thing when you see that. Now moving on to the bigger brother, the rifle or AR. Get ready to look like a bigger badass when your wife comes in and you're playing with this thing. So for this, there's 2 extra steps compared to a handgun. So it's taking the safety off and shouldering it, okay? So safety off, shoulder, target. From here, you can start from the low ready or the high ready and just switch. And this is what I'd recommend. Switch between the 2. You want to be good at both situations. Another thing is it's the elbow. All right. So whenever you're shouldering a rifle, keep that elbow in. All right. Don't look like a chicken. This is like anytime I go to the range and I see someone doing this, I know it's their first day. Just keep it in, and that way it mitigates the recoil. But other than that, that's everything when it comes to rifles and handguns. Now, one really cool pro tip is recording yourself. Okay, so start doing what I'm doing right now. It's super awkward. I still haven't gotten really comfortable with it, but when we were doing these dry fire exercises and we started recording each other, it was amazing the things that we saw that we didn't notice when we were doing the actual dry fire exercises. And one of those was the grip for me. It seems like such a basic fundamental, but I just wasn't doing it perfectly right, and that's detrimental to your accuracy. So get to it, get comfortable, do some new techniques, try new things out, and post in the comments what works for you. I'd love to hear what you guys like doing and to make yourself a better shooter, because at the end of the day it makes us better shooters. Alright right, guys, we are done with this video. I hope it motivated you to want to train a little bit harder, a little bit more frequently. But other than that, hit that like button, subscribe, and follow us on our journey for our next video. See you guys.